Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope y'all are doing great. Welcome back to day 19 of Create Every Day in April. Today we are going to be creating a project that I saw on Pinterest, and I've never made this type of bag until today, and it's not even a complete bag, but I'm going to show you different stages, and then we're going to go ahead and do the measurements together. Now, I will tell you that I particularly think that the instructions are not as detailed as I would like them to be because I struggled with it in some spots, and probably just because my reading comprehension of what this project is supposed to be versus my visual comprehension is totally different. I am going to link the pen where I got it from, so you can go ahead and click on the pen and see the picture for yourself, but this is what we're using. The person's inspiration that I'm using is a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, so they will refer to Stampin' Up! Products, but you don't need, as long as you have paper, you don't need the other stuff. So we're going to start off with having a sheet of paper that measures 8 1/4 by 11 inches. And so we're just going to cut off a 1/4 inch from the half. We're going to cut off a 1/4 from that for the 8 1/2. And hopefully we can get this done. I've tried to record this video a few times because I did one cold turkey, just reading instructions with you, and I realized that I don't like surprises, and I was surprised by a few of the things because it just did not make sense to me. So yeah, I'm going to share with you, this will be the third bag that I've made. If you can't see, but it strips up there. So on the 11-inch side of the paper, you can just make sure that you have actually scored it out properly. I like to check that because sometimes I'm not paying enough attention, but I just go to the end over here and it's 11, which was prefabricated, and then the 1/4. I am using craft paper because I am checking a theory of mine, and I just want to see if it proves to be right or no. All right, so the first score you need is 3/4. I just switched stylists. 4 1/2 will be the next measurements. I'm not going to leave any measurements in the description box. I want you to go over and check out the creator. I am not the creator. I am just the person that's following the creator's tutorial and attempting to make something pretty decent. Okay, so the first measurement is 3/4. Second one is 4 1/4. Third is 6 1/2. And then the fourth measurement is going to be 10 1/4. You can just hear the fibers tearing in this craft paper. And so then she says, the instructions say to make some small indentions at 2 5/8, 5 1/2, and 8 3/8. And I'm going to turn and make it on the other side. The instruction doesn't say turn, anything like that, but I am going to turn it because you want each side to be even. 2 5/8, 5 1/2, and 8 3/8. So even though you can't see them that well, we have our real score lines, and then we have our indentions. Now you're going to turn to the 8 1/4 side, and you're going to measure at 1 7/8. And 6 3/8. Now I want to tell you something. If you don't know your measurements, like I am not going to sit up here and say, oh, I know all my measurements when it comes to crafting or even mathing. You can just, when you have something that's supposed to be equally equal, whatever you know the measurements, like say for this 1 7/8, you could just turn your paper and measure at 1 7/8. Will it be time consuming? Yes. But will you be satisfied with the outcome because you're sure of your measurements? Yes. That is why I like this We Are Memory Keepers board. It has almost all of the measurements that you probably ever use in crafting, which makes me super duper happy. Like I told you, I've traded in my Martha Stewart for this one because yes. So right here on our score mark, on our indention, we're going to go ahead and score it at a diagonal. However you get your diagonals is how you should do it. The way I like to get my diagonals is probably the improper way. but I want to come from my corner right here. And I like to make sure that the crease in this diagonal support is meeting. And I just create that crease, just like that. Now with these, we'll talk about that in a minute. And I'm going to just rinse, repeat, and come back. For me, doing this project, what I found for these center creases is that if I just bend the paper up like that, it'll make life for me a lot easier. Although the OP does suggest you put creases in those spots, but she also says don't burnish them heavily. So I feel like, I think I could probably get away with not creasing the area right away. And so now what we're going to do is just burnish our creases, right? We're burnishing our creases, and we are following directions. Again, I will have her the OPs that I am following, the originator of this project that I am following, in the description box. Excuse all the manhandling of the paper. Sounds like I'm getting ready to go and cut some trees down. At least I feel like it sounds like that. But you want to give this needs a good burnish, because you know craft paper is like tough. All right, so we got that. And see these creases that we made, we're just going to stand, for me this works best, standing the paper on its side and folding that crease out right there. You know, I never know whether to bring the camera closer or farther away. I feel like every time I adjust it, it is in the wrong light. But for the creases that all the scores we're going to crease. And I want to burnish them down pretty good. So we got those two, and then we have these two over here. Now, I do think that sometimes when you manipulate paper, it could get the best of you, so just be careful with that. This is my third paper shaping of the morning. Same concept, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about that in a few seconds. All right, so now if you're following along with the instructions, she shows you the picture of how it should look, which is right here with the lines, and they should look like a little M. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my fingers and pinch where I created that indentation, and I'm going to give it a good pinching, like, you know, you're pinching someone in Sunday school because they're being loud, or, you know, if you pinch people, you may not pinch. I pinch. So I'm just pinching it up, just like that. Now, her next picture shows you how it looks, and then the next one shows you the paper that she has decided to use. So then we move on to, you know, if you're scrolling on paper, you scroll, and it says, next adhere your double-sided paper, excuse me, your designer series panels, but she doesn't give you the measurements. So I'm going to give you the measurements of what they should be. It's 4.5 by 3 1/4. All right, so I cut my paper 4.5 by 3 3/4. And I want to make sure, because, you know, I will put it the wrong way. And I chose this color because it kind of looks earthy, right? It looks earthy. And I am going to just apply some wet glue. This paper that we're using right here is called Shine On, and it's from Hobby Lobby. I got it on clearance, so I don't think they have it anymore. If you notice, if you have a Hobby Lobby near you, and you go to Hobby Lobby, some of the stuff they clearance and they bring back with a different name. I know they got rid of a lot of the Paper Studio name and just brought back the same thing without the name on it. So they could have this paper in a different price arena. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, I would prefer to make the paper this super long length, just because it kind of looks weird, and I'll show you when we finish what I'm talking about. I'm not sure if craft purses are the rave right now. Like, you want a craft purse? I think we kind of go for more colorful purses. If you probably can guess what my purses are. I have blue, green purses. I don't have any silver because silver is flashy for me when it comes to clothing. I do have gray shirts, but no silver shirts. And I probably do have I know I have some silver shoes, or I had some silver shoes. That's when I used to wear heels. After I had my son, my foot size changed and did not change back. And I feel a lot more comfortable wearing sneakers or flats. So I do like loafers though. I think loafers are very stylish for a certain kind of person. I like loafers. I've never had a pair of penny loafers, you know, put the penny inside of it. I think that's kind of different. You remember Buster Browns? I had a pair of Buster Browns. All right, so burnish this all down. Make sure that glue is having a good old time. And we're going to set this to the side for now, okay? So now, what our project should look like is, page 2, is this. And it does, right? It looks just like this. Now, moving on to page 3, we want to tape in all those creases. And I did that on this paper. So ours looks just like that. Now, this is the part that I haven't did yet. Like I said, I'm in various stages of this project. So we have this situation going on. We just made one together, and then we have this project. So now it says, apply strong adhesive to the area shown. And she used the tearing tape. Remove all the backing and stick in place. Now, this is what we're going to talk about. I like the instructions, but I feel like it could be a little bit more, and I'll tell you why. If I'm looking at this picture, I'm going to have to figure out how and why and when this happens, right? How did this get here? So, you know, the first thing is make sure your sides look that way. But how do you get your sides to look like their sides? Well, you're going to take your paper and you're going to tape it down, basically. Wherever you have your tape, you're just going to tape it down. And I couldn't see that at first with this one. This was my first one. I got really, really upset. Really, really frustrated because I was like, this makes no sense to me. And you don't want to crease this because you wanted to give it like that. When you have handbags that you sit on the floor, if you call them pocketbooks, you want your pocketbook or your purse to sit on the side and that kind of slumps in or folds over. And so, you know, with the leather or the faux leather, they somehow create it where it looks like that. So, yeah. I didn't like that part of, it's a few areas that I feel like I got lost in these instructions. And it's always good to go ahead and carry through with them. I think sometimes when you have instructions, it is best to read them first, again, and maybe once more before you start working on a project. And I was going to try and just do a cold turkey craft with you all, because I rarely do cold turkey crafts. Because cold turkey crafts usually end up how you visualize them and not really how the person has created them to be, if that makes any sense to you. And we've actually created something like this before, with the pocket was kind of open. So now what we're going to do is we're going to just take this and apply pressure. I think red liner would probably be very good in this instance if you were using red liner tape. Could you go and use some glue? Yeah, but you'd have to wait a while. So remember, we've made a pocket like this before in the past. And here is our project. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. After the fact of fighting with my brain to do it the way it's supposed to be done, we got there in the end. Okay. So, and this could fold flat if you wanted it to be a flat project. But who wants this dimensional to be flat? No one, right? And so what could you put in here? Maybe some candy? I don't know. Now, I will tell you now, I don't like paper straps for whatever reason. I do not like paper straps on projects. It just makes, I don't know. I don't like them. I will usually put some ribbon on there. I know, weirdo. I put like ribbon on here to make them look pretty good. Now, I didn't crease these corners. I didn't crease these as well as I've creased the other ones. So the purse will not do whatever it's supposed to do. I do recommend you figure out what you're going to do for your closures. I think for me, the next time I do a project like this, I would do something different. I'm going to punch holes in these and I'm going to put string on them. But for now, we're going to go ahead and talk about the project that we've worked on together, which is this one. Because you're like, yeah, okay, you did that, but where does the tape come in? And we're just going to follow the picture, and then we'll be done with this project. I hope that it has been helpful for you. I do enjoy making 3D projects. I just struggle with them sometimes because I'm like, why? So if I'm looking at the paper, like I have my paper, the orientation is the exact same way as this, and I'm just going to go to the indentation that we created, and I'm going to put tape. Now, could you use red liner on here? Yeah, you know, red liner is super strong. So you just have to be very mindful of how you place this tape down, and be careful that you don't mess up if you're going to use red liner, because red liner is not forgiving in my opinion, which it should not be. I mean, it's red liner, it has that reputation for a reason. I'm not even sure who makes red liner, but I think they have the patent for, you know, red. Like if you see red plastic on tape, you're like, oh, that's red liner. It's the best. It's like the best tape for certain projects, right? No one messes with red liner's validity. As in tearing tape, like, where'd that tearing tape come from? Oh, that's the Dollar Tree tape. It may not stick. But I feel like if you have good tape, it can get you a long, long way. So you don't want to mess with this area at all. You just want to mess with the places that's going to stick down. And, you know, I think for me, whenever I have projects like this, the more projects I do of the same thing, it makes me feel more comfortable. Like I probably could do this without the tutorial, without following the instructions now, because I've done it 3 times. I screwed it up royally once, and I think sometimes when I screw up stuff so bad, like not screwed up where it's wrong, but just frustrated, like I tend to remember a lot better. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to re-burnish this down because I feel like, that's the wrong thing. I feel like when you have your scores to burnish really, really well, your projects come out a lot better. The creases just tend to lay down more versus not. You see right here, it's off a little bit. That's okay. And if you really want to get fancy, you could put something at the bottom. But we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that at all. So, yeah. I don't know what we're doing tomorrow. I have to get my blood drawn today for my annual exam. And it's fasting blood work because, you know, they want to check your blood sugar level. And I woke up at 3 something. I was like, I'm not getting up. I'm not getting up. I'm not getting up. And then I was like, no, we don't have a project scheduled, like mentally scheduled for today for CREDA. What are we going to do? You're like, what's going to happen? So I was like, okay. So I opened up Pinterest and no craft projects popped up. It was all video game related stuff. So I was like, okay, this is different. Let's press the home button and see what happens. Again, all game stuff popped up. So I was like, okay, let's type in paper craft projects and see what happens. So we're just going to apply pressure down here. Now the instructions don't tell you to do that. What it says is apply. It says, it doesn't tell you what to do with your tape. It just shows you a picture of how it should look. And I feel like, you know, the OP could have put, now adhere your tape to the, I don't know. I just feel like that would have been a little bit more helpful. A little bit more helpful. So remember, we did not burnish these down. We just made those little flaps. And so what should happen is this right here. You see? So you can't really tell. For some reason this is off a bit, but that's okay. So now what I would do, I'm not going to do it with you all today. This is a finished project. We will not be revisiting this project anytime. I will probably make something and put something in here and send it out in some Happy Mail, but we won't see it. So I'm going to show you just real quick what I would do. Is I would find a happy place, right? Punch a hole. In hers, she talks about a magnet. And if you want to use a magnet, by all means, do a magnet. Okay, and this comes from the Dollar Tree. And I would just take ribbon and tie it right there in here. So the ribbon can kind of fall over. Or you can make it where your ribbon connects and you can just pull the string and it tie together. Maybe we'll visit that tomorrow. And I'm going to just put some butterflies on here and be done with it. I do like craft. I don't think craft is a really cute purse idea versus this coolness right here. But I do enjoy a good sheet of craft paper. And for now, since we don't have anything in here, we can lay these projects flat and we can move on to, you know, making more. Because maybe you're making this for a girl get together or crop or something like that, and you need a lot of these. I would say this would be my crop project versus me making all of them because I got frustrated. But that's just me. I hope that you've enjoyed this project. If you would like to see me try something, I have one person so far, and I'm going to be working on that really soon. I just need to see how detailed they would like to see it. I want to say thank you for watching. Until next time, happy CREDA.